Like I was doing the Bill O'Reilly fuck it uh, rant he does, and then started doing Commodore 64 introductions or gameplay from the Commodore 64 games he used to play all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, like reaching back to like the mid '80s, late '80s tech shit, which I enjoy. I love the retrofuturism of the early '90s VHS cyberpunk movies. Okay,
Yeah.
and I think there's a value of that stuff. I know that sounds really geeky, but that's fine. I'm hey, surprise geeky. Today we were unable to reach Janet. I don't know what's going on with her. I hope she's well. I hope she's just on a personal day and taking care of her family like she should. And the other three players were like, I want to play, I want to play, I want to play. Okay, let's play. And they're like,
Yeah.
can we do a side quest? I don't want to do anything without Janet here. That's like really integral. I'm like, all right, well, run her two characters and we'll get everything taken care of. No problem. You will? Yeah, I got this. So I've had this miniature in my collection for about 6 months to a year,
Okay.
and this is I don't know when I did this guy finished when I finished this little guy up, but you might recognize this guy because I got like 7 or 8 adults. Ah, no, but I got a baby owlbear.
That's adorable.
Yeah,
In the most dorkiest way possible. That's
yeah. So I got my baby owlbear, and I the players. One of the NPCs has discovered a chill touch spell, and so he touches any meat they harvest from deer or something, and he freezes the meat. Uh, we'll get into the necromancy aspect later, but that'll be later. But he freezes the meat, puts it in an extra dimensional storage space, and this celestial pops up with red hair. And the guys are like, we just met Wendy, the daughter of David Thomas, the celestial. And he's throwing a bitch fit because we're freezing the meat. And the players are having fun with it, having fun with it. And once they leave, she drops a little owlbear egg right there. Fucking nerdy goes ape shit and starts having fun. Like, I want to play with this. I'm like, okay, cool. So he tries to like get the nerdy ogre tries to get his nerd father side out and letting the owlbear gnaw on his arm and trying to imprint on it and trying to feed it. And I'm like, it's pretty ravenous, it's about 150 pounds. At first it's like 300, but that's because all the crap from the inside the egg was on it. But after they cleaned up, about 150 pounds of soaking wet, feathery, wet fur crap owlbear. And the players were going ape shit with this thing, and I was having fun with it. But they couldn't get the thing to kind of like calm down because it's not meant to calm down. It's an owlbear.
right.
You can't tame an owlbear. You can point one in a direction and be like, go there. And that's about all you could do. Hey, Delfino Roja, how you doing? And that's all we could do with it. And the players were just having a real issue with this thing. And I was trying to make them enjoy themselves, or not make them, but at least offer the enjoyment to them. But at the same time, they were not going to have the best day. And eventually they turned this thing back because it was going after every halfling it found in the city, trying to chew up halflings. It's 150 pounds. It's bigger than a halfling, freshly hatched yesterday. And it wants to chew on every small person it sees. So once they figured out this wasn't going to work out the way they wanted it to, they gave it back to nature. And that was when its mother came along. And we'll see what happens in the future. sure, but I'm gonna have fun with it. That was the majority of the day, and then starts sending the players off towards the dungeon, which is where you picked up at. Did I
Yeah,
make it?
I. It sounded like it was a good game. So
Oddly enough, I felt like I did pretty okay. I could have done better. Always. Are you having audio issues over there or no?
I'm not here. I'm not having too many. I'm not hearing. I'm hearing a little bit of a cut out, but am I having problems?
Okay. Gustavo says, I don't have a job. Okay, that's cool. Um, so did you play anything this last couple weeks?
No, unfortunately, Okay, yes and no. Did I play my usual BattleTech game? No, I was working overtime covering everyone's vacation from the holiday, for the 4th of July holiday. But made up with that by helping people do a lot of world building and campaign help to help them figure out what they want out of their games, which was good for them. And it helped me stay creative and keep on working. And then I had that little burst of energy we had on the Discord channel, which really helped too, because it made up for the lack of excitement that I would have in real life. So
Yeah, Lena seems like a nice person.
very much so.
And I guess there's somebody else that tagged along with her, but they're just kind of in observation mode. That's cool.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. As long as I don't get hacked, and I lose my channel and all my stuff, that's all
No,
I
I
ask.
don't do it again.
Pain in the ass. I just uninstalled. What did I just uninstall? I just got rid of Gilded. I haven't used it in over a year. Oh shit! I still have it. Let me get rid of that.
Yeah, you probably do.
So I've seen 3 movies this year that came out this year.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new Masters of the Universe, or are you not going to see it?
I'm probably gonna see. Due to lack of time, I'll probably catch it on catch it on stream because I just don't have the time to get to the theater.
I honestly feel because it lost so much money that Amazon is going to shove it into its watch portion of their service, but you don't have to pay for it because they're just going to absorb all of it that way, the same way they do their Rings of Power bullshit.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh no, they didn't make any money with He-Man, which was really weird. But this is like a movie that came out 10 years too late. If it would have came out in 2010, it could have looked the way it looked for the most part. It would have been out of the norm because Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't out yet. But it absolutely could have been made in the early 2010s. The Prince Adam character was really good. As much as I hate the Earth portion of the movie, it comes back really hard in the end of the movie, and it makes a lot of sense. The only thing I hated about the movie was the fact they brought in Dolph Lundgren for a cameo, and when they're doing it, they're at a gym. So I got little He-Man and big He-Man together, and the camera kind of recognizes Dolph as the alpha when these two are together.
Oh,
And I felt shafted when I saw that. I felt like I somehow gotten cheated, and I like Dolph quite a bit. I think his best movies are the kind of past now, but I still enjoyed him in the Expendable movies, and I still probably one of my favorite top 15 movies of all time was I Come in Peace with Brian Benben and
Hmm.
Dolph Lundgren, which is a very good buddy cop movie on its ear because of all the shit that happens in that film with pyrotechnics. They really do a showcase of this pyrotechnician, and the director just knew how to film it. He had a good cinematographer. Dolph was at his A game. I forget the girl that was in it, but she played a good character because she was a woman who never got to see her husband or her boyfriend, whatever he is. But it was a very good movie. And Dolph is in this cameo for He-Man, and I felt like when I saw that, I'm like, wait, why don't we have him in this movie? He could have been more in this film. Actually, I felt like he could have been King Randor. Just my own personal thought. But that's the worst movie I saw this year, and I talk about it like it's an 8 out of 10. I saw Project Hail Mary,
Which isn't a bad movie.
No. Actually, I liked it a little bit more than He-Man. Uh, I really, I really like Rocky.
Yes,
Rocky, Rocky gave me hope that when we meet aliens, I can throw all my autistic friends at the delegation, and the aliens and the autists will talk, and we'll have peace.
that would be nice.
It would, because Rocky has severe autism in that movie.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I, I love him, but he's the most autistic character I've ever seen in a film, and I don't know if they intentionally wrote it like that or if that's how the book is, but supposedly the book is really good, just like the movie The Martian. I didn't see that until like a year ago.
that's a group. I like that movie a lot. The book is even better.
I've heard the book is great on that. I really just need to sit down with this guy's uh, bibliography and just enjoy myself.
They are great books, and Project Hail Mary is a really nice. It really is a nice book, and they it's not a one for one, much like The Martian's not a one for one, but it carried through in the right ways, and I really like some of the direction they took the movie in, and it just was a I I just like how it played out. It was just a good movie, and it was like, here's science, but without making you feel like you're being lectured to or you're stupid for watching it.
Well,
Which
that's always nice.
which is for me great.
I hate feeling like I'm too dumb to watch Star Trek Discovery, okay?
Yeah. And Hail Mary did not do that to you.
No. I actually felt like I came out of that movie with something more in the brain matter than when I went in. I mean, I felt like that movie actually tried its best to educate guys like me.
I also like the way it ends. That just makes me happy. And
Yeah.
it just it's fun. Plus,
Uh,
all of
but
Rocky's people are hilarious, and I love them.
is that how the book ends? Is that how the book ends?
Yeah,
Okay. I got to read that too. Um, the third movie I watched for film. Have you seen anything about this movie called The Furious?
no, I haven't. That one went under my radar. I don't know much about that one. What's about it?
Uh, a deaf guy has a young daughter, and she gets kidnapped.
Okay.
And he's searching for her, and he bumps into a journalist who's searching for his wife. The same people have kidnapped both. So they tear apart a city trying to get them back. And when I say they tear apart a city, there's movies that promise a lot. Like Wrecking Crew had uh, Aquaman and Drax together. Jason Momoa and I can't remember the other actor, but he was in Blade Runner 2079, and he was in Guardians of the Galaxy as Drax. Big fella, Bautista. Okay, so he's in that movie with Jason Momoa, and they promised to tear apart Hawaii, killing Yakuza. And Wrecking Crew is like a 6 out of 10 action film. It barely gets the job done. It's not very enjoyable. It's hard to watch. It just it feels more than it connects. But yet, when you watch a movie like The Raid or The Raid Part 2 Randall, you know that their focus isn't on acting. Their focus is on stunt work and making the fights look really good. And those same people that were involved with that got involved with The Furious. And once again, we have the best movie of the decade coming out of that side of the world once more. And the Furious is just a nonstop, wall to wall, balls to the wall action film. And you're not going to see anything like that out of an American cinema producer, because they are playing everything far too safe. And at the best, we're going to get movies like He-Man, Masters of the Universe, 10 years late, where they have human resources values as a virtue. That's the best we can get.
I don't know. I think there's a new generation of people who are aiming. I want to say aiming lower, but coming in with low budget and lower expectations, but making out with lots of money in return. Because you kind of saw it with Godzilla -1, tiny budget, big return.
Oh, God. That's a good movie, though.
Yeah, it was. Then you had like last year, you had Markiplier come out with his own privately funded, privately distributed movie that he made on a tiny budget, and compared to a big giant blockbuster that comes in with huge quantities, he made multiple millions of dollars, but it was a small budget, and independent distribution made a ton of money. The back rooms, independent films, small budget, comparatively to the budget, giant returns. Well, not compared to, like, it didn't make $1 billion, but it made way more than its budget to create, and the story was original, and it was actually pretty good. Then we had the Amazing Digital Circus came out with it had a very limited run for a short amount of time, and low budget, runtime of a little over an hour, and made back way more than its budget. And so there's like this rolling thing of small budgets by independent film studios that are turning to desperate theaters who can't really sell any kind of major movie anymore, because, well, let's be honest, anything that's coming out of the big studios is shit. It's 10 years too late, or it's riddled with the wrong ideals, or it was aimed at the wrong audience, or in the case of the only reason why I think the Odyssey is going to do any kind of good is because it's got no Christopher Nolan's name attached to it. But other than that, it's going to be a flop. And it's going to have no lasting value, because it's going to be like in the same bin that you throw Troy. You just kind of throw Troy into the bin because Troy, when it came out, was shit because it was weird. And so we're going to get the Odyssey, and it's only going to make money because it's going to have Nolan, but it's going to have no lasting value, and it's going to have a huge drop off after its opening weekend. I mean, you just had the flop of Supergirl, and so everywhere you're seeing is that the nostalgic big tent poles that would have been phenomenal 5-10 years ago are flopping because, well, let's be honest, nothing. We're tired. Everyone's tired of shitty reimagined. Like nobody wants to see a reimagined Greek epic with no Greeks, but with a modern aesthetic. Nobody cares. And yeah, and so people are. I think we're going to start. We're kind of rolling into the back to almost the how to say it, that grungy indie grindhouse mentality of the 70s is going to come back. It's going to come back. Small budgets, small productions, making the best film you can make with what you can do, and there'll be neat, innovative films. We might get a modern Logan's Run, or just something weird, something odd, something cool, because this is all it's going to be able to stay in theaters in this realm where Warner Brothers and Paramount and all the big studios are going to collapse under their debts and their inability to produce a big blockbuster studio, and new studios like A24 are going to step up into their place. And yeah, it's going to, yeah, it won't be Disney or Warner Brothers anymore, but who cares? I don't need it. I don't need to see the Universal logo or 20th Century Fox logo at the start of a movie to know it's going to be good, because I've seen studios that I like die, because after all, there is no more Canon Films. And I love Canon Films, but they're gone. And so if I lose Warner Brothers, I'm not going to be too upset. If I lose Disney, I'm not going to be upset. But what about all the? I don't care. I'm not invested in their survival, because honestly, with A24 out there, A24 goes, we can do drama, we can do horror, we can do independent productions, and we're just as good as sure, it's not as flashy as the big studios, but who cares? And I'm okay with that. I want a modern Big Trouble in Little China. No, I don't want a remake of it, but I want. It's like I don't want a remake. Like, I'm not saying I want another Big Trouble in Little China, but I want a film like that where somebody just comes out with a cool idea and then races with it and gives us an Escape from New York, or a Big Trouble in Little China, or a I don't want a rehash of something I watched 30, 40 years ago. I want something new. I want people to make gambles on things. I want to see, as I mentioned, Logan's Run or a Death Race 2000. But somebody taking a cool idea and going with it, because in certain corners of the internet, there are people who are just coming up with really cool ideas, but they're just fizzling out in the they're out there in the net, and because they can't win over boomers and Gen Xers, which the old Gen Xers who are useless borderline boomers themselves now, the boomers who just I don't understand the internet, and then a bunch of ignorant twatland who have all the money and none of the brains and have no culture, because, well, we've been the dominant culture for 60 fucking years. And they never got out of the way because they're the fucking boomers. And let's be honest, we Gen Xers didn't do fucking anything with ourselves. And yeah, we're just kind of just coasting on nostalgia now. And well, we're aging out. And well, what's going to come after us is when the corporations can't coast on 80s nostalgia for another 40 years, they can't. I mean, we're seeing that any attempt to like milk the last drops of 80s nostalgia is not working. I mean, and for me, that's not a bad thing. Finally, we might get to see something new, people taking gambles again, and making a fun movie, a daring movie on like, hey, I made a movie on a budget of $5 million or $15 million, and my marketing campaign is I made a TikTok video and I paid $10,000 for it to be to go viral a little bit, and I put out some small little things, and poof, okay, cool. I now have a marketing I now have 100 theaters who are now going, I want to show that movie. And at that point, we're kind of getting back to the Canon Films era of I want to make this movie, and the theaters, okay, we'll do that, and then you make a shitty movie, and is the set super? Are you putting $100 million super surround sound 4K 10K deluxe super wraparound the volume so you can film in the idea that you have a set on the internal and it's CG realistic? No, it's a guy in a set with fake blood everywhere, and people are like, I want that. Or it's a shitty old camera in a back room painted yellow. People, I want to watch that because it's not the same thing. It is a new story. It's a cool. Is it a weird story? Does it leave you confused?
How can we twist and make Robert Downey Jr. employable again? How can we make it to where we got Dr. Doom die, and yet we get Tony Stark back, and therefore Robert Downey Jr. will always have a job there?
And I'm like, Robert Downey Jr. should just I have no interest in watching the Avengers Doomsday.
No, neither do I.
Because I don't want to watch Robert Downey Jr. be Dr. Doom. I want to see Dr. Doom. I don't want to see evil Tony Stark. I want to see Victor Von Doom of Latveria be Dr. Doom.
Yes.
I mean, it's like I was hanging out with one of my friends. They're a Dr. Doom fan. It's like they know more about Dr. Doom than I will ever fucking know. And listening to them for years talk about how awesome Doom is and being able to do Doom impressions, and he could just roll off Doom quotes all fucking day. And I'm just like, cool, because if I ever needed to ask, hey, what would Dr. Doom do in this situation? Look at him, and he'd be able to give me immediately what Dr. Doom would be like. And I'm like, fuck yeah, overly complex and cool. Is he evil? Yes. Is he fair? Yes. Is he running a country where he's nice to two children? Yes. Does he do weird things? Yes. He's Dr. Doom. And now I'm getting Tony Stark as Doom. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with Marvel movies at this point. And
yeah, I'm completely checked out with anything Marvel. I'm good. The last one I watched was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I found out as I watched that movie, I only gave a shit about Rocket. I didn't care about anybody else. And spoiler alert, when Rocket's arc was over, I turned the movie off. That was it.
Yeah.
And I don't hear people talk nowadays about, man, I got to go back and watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That was a great film. I don't hear people say that. I don't hear people say, like, dude, you remember the end of Civil War No, do you remember at the midpoint of Civil War when all those quotable lines were said? No, because it was never happening. That movie sucked. Like 80%, 90% of the Marvel movies sucked.
Yeah, and it's kind of gone downhill to the point where I'm just like, I have no enthusiasm at all for any of the new shows. And today I was sitting here talking with somebody, and we were talking about just various movies and shows and stuff, and we just have nothing, and we literally have nothing to like be excited over. And it felt it's for me. I had already checked out the comic books years ago, and the movies were the only thing I was still keeping up on. The TV shows had gone downhill, movies were gone downhill, but and therefore I'm out, and and now we're gonna go like they're getting desperate because they're trying to aim to nostalgia the millennials now because they're remaking Harry Potter, but nobody wants it. I mean, there's some, but nobody wants to see. Nobody wants the a Harry Potter remake,
I'm
and
having a hard time with Harry Potter being
but
remade.
yeah, but we're going to get we're going to get a Harry Potter TV series, but reimagined, and I'm sitting here. I know I don't know anybody who's excited for this, and when I start thinking about nostalgia, about I when it comes to like nostalgia for for things of the late '90s and early 2000s, what was there to really be nostalgic about that was a good show that you could remake?
Hold up. Let me interject here.
Yeah,
Do you remember the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s show called Friday the 13th?
yeah,
Nothing to do with the movies, everything to do with the hot redhead and her geeky cousin.
yep,
And they had an apartment, no, they had a store where they collected all of Satan's artifacts and they locked them in a vault. And every week they went after a new artifact before it could kill again.
yeah,
It was a prop master's fun show. I felt because the prop master would have a prop and then they'd make some crappy CGI of it, animating and doing stuff, and then they would have a death scene. A person you see on screen for 3 minutes dies from the prop, from the artifact, evil artifact, and then after that, we got another one in the vault. Good job, and then they do it again next week, and it was really a good, actually a really good show. It actually had a good arc to it. There was a continuing narrative that went through. I felt like it was one of the best shows on television for the time.
oh yeah.
Because at the time, I wasn't watching Next Generation. I would watch it later in life.
There's Warehouse 13 took that. I did that concept as well. That was a good series. I agree. Sequest would be cool. The problem with Sequest is that was a show for a very specific era of because Next Generation was big, and underwater whale stuff was really big in the public conscious. So how do you do sci-fi spaceships underwater? And so how do you get Star Trek underwater? Sequest DSV. I like Sequest DSV. And the problem with Lord of the Rings is that I like Lord of the Rings, but we kind of saw how they're going to handle that show, and it was bad. Rings of Power was a terrible. Some your mileage may vary, but it's not great. And Wheel of Time was a complete dumpster fire. So you're kind of.
And don't even get me started on Wheel of Time.
I know. And so we're at that point. We're kind of in the tail end of the burning. Where fantasy where fantasy burned itself out with Game of Thrones fell on its face, and now we have prequel, sequel, side story land where where we're not getting the main story anymore, and Wheel of Time did its own thing, and Rings of Power is fan fiction. And so we're not going to get a good fantasy show for a while. Zombies have burned themselves out, and we're probably not going to get a zombie resurgence for a bit. And yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, and Stargate unfortunately gets canceled because the creators wanted to actually have it be Stargate rather than a new reimagining of Stargate. I'm like, the people who want to watch Stargate are Stargate fans. You have a built-in audience. No, we don't want. We're going to cancel it because it's too close to the original material. It's too nerdy, and I'm like, I think we're at the tail end of everyone going, no, we want to go for the new super, the modern audience. Well, the thing is, the modern audience doesn't exist. It's a myth. It doesn't. There isn't any anywhere, and so the only way you're gonna, and I want to have that point where we go back to, hey, just tell a good story, and the people will come to it, and watch happily.
Yep.
Welcome in, Crafting Gamer.
Hey, Crafting.
There you go. Hello.
Nerdy, if you want in, Nerdy or anybody else, you guys know where the links are at in general, go ahead.
I'll let me know if the fan is annoying. It's cool enough outside now. I can turn it off.
You're a little quiet on there.
Yeah, you're a little quiet. If you move the microphone
Sorry, I turned my head for some reason. I was saying if my fan's annoying and I can turn it off, it's cool enough outside now. I can safely do that.
Okay. Yeah, so we were just talking about various movies that came out and various things that came out. And
oh, yeah.
Like I said,
I tried to
the
have this
best movie I saw was The Furious, and
yeah,
I was super excited to see it. I love to talk about that movie because that movie just is a kinetic action feast. But I'm also one of the few people I know that almost gets off talking about the movie The Raid. Either of the Raid movies.
I've had a talk with Connell about modern cinema, and it's not something we can talk about. Connell loves to throw out there, oh, just think for yourself. Oh, so the fact that Khy and I agree automatically means I'm Khy's parent. Got it. Dude, if you had actually... Here is an actual story. I don't know if Khy heard this or not, but here's an actual story. Bruce knows this story. Bruce and I had been hanging out for a little while, and then I had been hanging out with Baron for a while. Both in unison, Bruce and Baron said, I need to hang out more with Khy.
Do you?
Hey, they're the ones that said it. So that tells you, at least by Bruce and Baron standards, Khy and I already had a very similar mindset. But no, despite the fact that I actually do make my own decisions, the fact that Khy and I have very similar mindset obviously means I can't think for myself. It's like, Connell, shut up.
Dirty.
What's up?
Good to see you. Haven't seen you in
Long time
forever.
no see. Yeah, no, there were quite a bit of good shows in there that could do with a reboot or a continuation.
So you guys are wanting to talk about doing a remake or a reboot or sequel or something. You know what a sequel is, right? You guys know what a sequel is. A sequel, for those that don't, a good example would be you have movies like Blade Runner and Alien, and they're both in the same universe. And in the cinema, they're in their universe. Same place. But then you have 1998. You have this movie called Soldier that's released with Kurt Russell. And the beginning of Soldier, a lot of the action sequences that young Kurt Russell or Kurt Russell's child Wyatt is filmed doing, you have all these locations and events, and they're from the soliloquy in Blade Runner spoken by Roy Batty. You get to see all the various things that Roy Batty's talking about, and they start talking to you about them in the movie. They start showing you in the movie Soldier. So Soldier is in the same universe. Also, there's a sequence where they're dumping trash on the world, and one of the pieces of trash is a spinner. But Soldier,
Yes, I know the movie you're talking about now.
Soldier is a perfect sequel.
Yeah, I that's actually one of my favorite movies. I actually grew up with that movie. It was a friend of mine many years later that pointed. No, not a friend of mine. Sorry, he pointed it out after I seen it, but online someone pointed out different objects that are found in both the Blade Runner and Alien universes, or in this case, storylines, since they're all in the same universe.
I didn't mean to suck out all the oxygen in the room, guys. Go on ahead.
No,
it's
but
okay.
that's what I was saying. Is like '90s had a lot of good shows, or had several good shows, in my opinion, that that could have done with like a continuation story. That's what I would like. Whenever I heard about Magnum PI, that's what I thought they were going to do. Is because at the end of the original Magnum PI, he ended up with his daughter. He had a daughter with um, I don't Vietnamese. Yeah, she's like a Vietnamese woman or something. And at the end of the series, his baby mama ended up dead, and he ended up taking care of the girl. So I thought whenever I first heard about the new series that was coming out, I thought, man, that'd be awesome if they like continued the story with her. Like maybe she followed in Dad's footsteps and became a PI or something like that. But they didn't. Where's the pity? But yeah, let's see. I put on there Thunder in Paradise. I actually liked that one. I thought that was cool. Anybody know that one?
No.
Yeah.
It all comes down to literally Khy said. I mean, I noticed this. I didn't notice it too much until the first Star Wars movie with Rey. Of course, I don't even like that movie, but overall, it was literally just the very first movie with a female protagonist, and that's it.
That's not.
I'm sorry, what?
No, I'm not gonna say that. Just keep going with your thought.
Well, my point isn't like it's like a one for one, but I'm referring to like it's a revisit of the first movie, like Avatar is Dances with Wolves.
It's a rehash of a rehash. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
And I think we're just reaching the point now where everything's so safe and boring and rehashed so badly now that, and I know there's always that infamous thought of there's no such thing as an original story, blah, 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 whatever. But the thing is that nobody wants if we're going to have another Blade Runner, make it a movie that's in the Blade Runner universe, which is kind of what Blade Runner's sequel was, but nobody wants a redone version of that. Nobody's clamoring anymore for yet another thing of a 50, 60, 70-year-old project, and
no,
it's flopping. It's like, hey, it's like they're running out of steam. Yeah, we're nerds. We can quote things from the 90s that were popular, but the 90s was kind of a vacant decade where not much really came out of it that stuck around. I
Yeah.
Yes,
Well-
we loved Sequest DSB, but can you remember what happened in third season?
Where they basically
actually not.
rewrote the
Entire show,
entire show, and the submarine ended up into the future
and they
with
got
just
rid
like a
of
handful of the crew.
most of the crew and recast it, and now it was a war drama, which kind of takes away from the entire message of the first two seasons of ecological protection for a dying world to try to save it. And now it was underwater wartime. And that detracts so much from the potential of its first season. And I like what we mentioned Warehouse 13, which was definitely Friday the 13th, but was I redone for Sci-Fi Channel, and it was a great season. It was a great show. I've got it on DVD, and it's a fun show to watch. But can you really pin down much to be able to like? It would be cool to see it, and you could just throw anybody into it. But Sci-Fi Channel didn't give us a whole lot of really staying impactful shows outside of Farscape, which what was a that will never happen again.
Okay, Farscape happened, and there's some play that we need to discuss real quick. It was a joint venture from Sci-Fi Channel and the Jim Henson Company.
Mm-hmm.
Sci-Fi Company, very, very small. Amazingly, though, they have reach.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Jim Henson Company, which is like 5-star creators and idea people. And they managed to pair up with Sci-Fi and give us something. I haven't even looked at all of Farscape. What I have seen has impressed me beyond belief.
But the thing is, that was a unique. Like the events that surround Farscape is almost one of those. They're unique events that I doubt. It's right on there. It's right up there with, like Red Dwarf, and like you're not going to get a Red Dwarf in our lifetime. It's like that's just was a earlier when I was starting this entire conversation when I said we're going to need unique people on low budgets making creative stories and making with what amounts to sticks, twigs, and cardboard boxes again, and salvage crap, making as the best you can do on a limited budget. We're going to need that kind of stuff again because we're the the money's gone. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the money laundering of the 2000s and 2010s is gone. I mean, there's just nothing left to do this, and the last gambles on can we throw a bunch of money to put somebody in tights and have them shoot laser beams on a green screen? Is that we're not succeeding there anymore? Which I'm okay with finally ending 20 years of superhero movies being the only thing that's in theaters. I want like I hate to say it, I want we have Project Hail Mary, which was a modern day 2001. It's a movie you sat down and go, this is an interesting movie, and you walked out thinking. Much like 2001 was an interesting movie, and you walked out thinking. Are the like it's going to be a movie which people are going to remember years from now, and I wouldn't mind seeing like Dark Star or something like that. I want to see some of these interesting concepts back again, and we're they're just and but we've been through what amounts to almost 30 years of repackaging the past, and it's been marketable because boomers want to spend money on their past and want to live in their past, and again, Gen Xers didn't do fucking anything with ourselves besides consume. And well, we're aging out, and we're all aging out. I'm on the young end of Gen X, and I'm 48, and there's 20 years ahead of me of fucking people who are retiring now who are Gen Xers, and we had our 80s boom. We had our nostalgia. Our nostalgia boom was last decade and into this decade.
Yeah.
Where all it was 80s all the time, all day, every day for a fucking decade. And well,
Yeah.
that decade's ending, and it's now time for the 90s. And there's nothing in the 90s. There's just nothing because the 90s was worthless. And in a few years, we're going to start entering into the 2000s coming back. And what the fuck was in the 2000s? Early GWAT. What the fuck was in the GWAT? For shows. Nothing.
Oh,
There was
real.
nothing
Like,
Well,
in entertainment. Go ahead.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, Things have gotten to a point from a technology standpoint. We have like Netflix, HBO Max, these streaming services, and they are now able to, like, instead of doing, movies, they can do what we called back in the day a mini series.
Yeah.
And but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Is like the number one complaint with taking a book. Okay, like take Harry Potter. Take the Harry Potter series. Good books. The books pissed me off, and here's why. I saw the movies before I read the books. As a matter of fact, it was years after the last movie came out before I even read the books. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, the movies were good. The movies were great, but they weren't as per the usual. The movie was nothing like the book. The books were better. Now, with these streaming services, and what I thought they were doing with the Harry Potter reboot was I thought they were going to break it down into a series platform, and make it more like the book. From what I saw of the preview shots, that's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then the whole Black Snake issue thing came out, and then some other stuff started. I'm like, no, they're screwing it up. Because I mean, it's like one of the things why movies were never like the book is because they had to rewrite a lot of things because the imagination is bigger than the technology to recreate it on the screen. Not to mention, for every little person, just one person has a 2-minute scene, and then they're gone, never heard of. You got to pay them. So what do you do to cut costs? You cut that person out, and you find a way. You find a way to rewrite how the main characters get that particular information. And so with the series, you can still have that person.
There is another aspect that we're kind of missing here that Netflix and Amazon and all of these companies have kind of killed, is that they come out with a phenomenal first season, and then you wait 3 years for season 2. And whatever momentum that you had going into the next show is lost. And because it was a problem with with Wednesday, with that show. The first season, I was hooked, and then I waited 2.5 years for the second season to arrive. I didn't care anymore about it because I know these are mini series, but the problem here is that I don't want to watch a show 2 years. I don't want the continuation 2 years from now. I want the next part of it. When it's still in living memory. Because that was kind of the benefit for old Trek, was the idea that you had 28 episodes. The summer was off, then 28 more episodes, and you had season after season after season. I don't care. And with Doctor Who, 10 to 12 episodes. Summer, 10 to 12 episodes. Christmas, and the series were in back to back, so you had this momentum building. But now that we're in this prestige thing where every single one of them goes, but we're making like 3 movies back to back, and I'm like, so did Star Trek, and so did the Next Generation. They somehow managed to do 8 seasons. It was really hard, and it was back. It was a miracle that we did it. And I go, but you did it. Okay, so shrink the seasons down to 12 episodes, 12-hour-long episodes. Still make the sets out of foam, because if you don't need a visual effect if you can tell a good story. I mean, but we depend too much now on visuals and After Effects and process. Like, no, it has to be spectacular. And today I was talking with a friend, and it's like we were like, Stranger Things came up, and we were like, this show is great for the first season, and then it's trash because they started to explain everything and all the magic. But you had to wait for almost like what, 2/3 of a decade to get the whole story out, and you're like, this is kind of trash. And so we're kind of needing to get cheaper, faster productions back in the system, so that way you don't feel like you lost it. I mean, you lost something waiting 2 years for more of something, because actors age out, and now you got to figure out how to write in. Well, shit, how did so and so suddenly hit puberty? And what are these guys still acting like the same losers they were 5 years later? No, people change, but you got to figure out how to make it all work now. It gets harder and harder, and so it's either just one and done show, like either embrace the one and dones, or you condense productions, but nobody wants to risk that because they're putting what, $100 million into a series now, and you're like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, this is like the biggest budget ever, and I'm like, you could just tell the same story, but you don't need to fly everybody out to Tahiti to go film 2 scenes on a beach, and then fly everybody out to Tunisia so you can do a desert scene, and then fly everyone out to Egypt to go do a different desert scene but with different rocks. And meanwhile, you can just go, why don't you just go to the quarry outside San Diego, outside Hollywood, and go film in the same quarry, or go to Canada and go film in the Stargate Memorial Forest, and save yourself some cash, and produce a faster movie for cheaper. But the thing is that the writing is terrible, and Bruce, you mentioned with the idea that He-Man, where it was 10 years too late. Well, yeah, and the thing is that I'm hearing people go, well, I want a Transformers and G.I. Joe story. When that movie comes out, that's going to be, what, 15 years too late for when that could have been a phenomenal movie.
But just go back to He-Man real quick. That movie, if it would have been released in 2010, I'm going to say the average He-Man viewer was probably born between 1975 and 1982. The show was only on for 3 seasons, 83 to 86, 87, something like that. There was a live-action movie that shortly after that came out, they broomed off the cartoon to focus on She-Ra, Princess of Power, and the play sets and action figures of that, which all of them were gimmicky. Got to give it to them. They were gimmicky, but it didn't ever sell. And therefore, She-Ra died after like seasons or less. Well, everybody I knew watched He-Man. Nobody I knew watched She-Ra and talked about it. We never had discussions on the playground about She-Ra or Hordak or anybody involved with that guys. That was dead to us. They had plenty of gas to still go with He-Man, and instead they killed it because they had their movie, they had their new property, and they went off their own direction. And then so those guys that were my age ages like 1972 to 1982. The typical person that would watch He-Man in either syndication or first run, that we're just going to say Generation X or early millennial. But the thing is that we were 40 in 2015. Okay,
Yeah.
or if like me, if you're born 75, you're 40 in 2015, and the majority of guys I knew had kids, families, and that would have been the ideal time to release He-Man because we got Gen X guys with all this shit in their attics and basements and garages, and they could make new toys, new line of toys to get all their kids to buy it. It actually should have been made in 2005 or 2000 when we all started having kids in like mid 90s or later. And that movie could have fucking sold like gangbusters. Instead, the movie's going nowhere. There's no fucking toys. There's no play sets. There's no nothing for He-Man coming out.
I know.
Go ahead.
And we also had like the first attempt to reboot He-Man in the mid 2000s, the cartoon series, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then Mattel killed it.
And then Mattel killed it, and the toys, because the toys didn't move because they weren't marketed.
They weren't marketed. They were also $22 an action figure.
Yeah.
When your average pay, your I'm not trying to say that the people that were buying it were minimum wage, but minimum wage was between $5 and $7 an hour, and that's really not a good trade at all. It's not a good trade-off.
And so many of the things that we push for kids don't get any marketing whatsoever anymore. Like, you don't see commercials for anything. You don't see pushes for it. They just throw the toys out into the market, and they die there.
Everything that's worth getting a hold of has an app with just a bare bones amount of time in it. If there's any legs to it, you'll see it on fucking, what is it, Fortnite. And actually, I gotta say that the one place where Fortnite really does things well is whenever they get a comic license and they get the comic accurate models in the game.
Yep.
They have like 10 or 15 little Spider-Men now, and each one is from a different era of the Spider-Man comic book. They're doing a good job honoring the legacy of Stan Lee. Good job. I'm not saying I like Fortnite, far from it. I'm just saying that like that's the only place where you're seeing merch.
Or they're small indie productions that are going their own way to market this stuff in their own fashion. Like, because you can't go to Mattel anymore. You can't go to Hasbro and say, "I've got a toy idea," because Hasbro doesn't give a fuck about anything anymore. Mattel doesn't exist for the most part, and you get this thing of, well, who makes toys anymore? And now people are trying to like find like new toy makers, and they still exist, but you're now having to like look for independent marketing. And I know I mentioned the Amazing Digital Circus just recently, or earlier in the stream. They funded their entire project that Glitch makes. Every episode comes with its own custom toys for that episode, like custom standees, custom pins, custom. So like A24 and Glitch have both figured out that if you're going to produce anything these days, you gotta sell the merchandise simultaneously with the release. You can't wait 6 months to it's cool. I gotta sell, like, it will sell toys 6 months from now. No, and they're both going, hey, did you like that episode? Buy the merch for it right now. And that's why I think A24.
That's one of the side effects of the internet.
Yeah.
Because back in the 80s, you had to wait 6 months because everybody had to wait for everything to kind of slowly spread like a virus and get out there, word of mouth, you
Yeah.
know. And but now it's like you show something and it's like boom out
Boom.
there. It's instantly, you know.
Yeah. But
And so
but the,
it's like I heard about this one guy. Uh he like made some decent money selling shirts with interesting things he seen printed around town. He would see something interesting, he'd have a bunch of shirts printed out, and then he would sell them.
You mean like Hungar?
yeah. But the thing here is that yes, Hungar. Now, but the thing that we're kind of looking at the problem here is that legacy media, to use the term that you hear a lot, legacy media, which is the big production companies that we think are the drivers of culture, are are dinosaurs. They don't they have no, the only influence they have is with old fucking like is with people who are drones or people who don't think. So do you have a bunch of people who have gray hair? Fuck yeah. Man, Warner Brothers is the best thing in the entire universe. Paramount, fuck yeah. Man, I have gray hair and I worry about my blood pressure. I'm happy to have merchandise sold to me 6 months after I watch a show. Man, thank God I went to get my prostate checked because I want to go buy merchandise for Stranger Things 8 months after I watch the show. Sadly,
Here's where everybody's missing it, Khy.
what?
Here's where everyone's missing it.
Yeah,
Right now, if you have a successful thing coming out,
yeah,
what you do is a month before release, you can test bed it by having some jackass get on Blender and make STLs. And
yeah.
here you go. You like this show? Print off these STLs or have your friend print them off. Have somebody paint them up and put them on your mantelpiece because you like this. And if you do like it, give us a Patreon. We got $1 a month. You don't have to be a subscriber for that long, but just give us a couple bucks. No big deal. Buy me a coffee, etc. So you have the ability for people to take the STLs and either print off themselves or take them to a shop where they can be printed. And now we have merch. Now I can cut out Miss Patel, Kenner, Fisher Price, all the bullshit. Now I honestly feel these companies have an arm where they can take and completely go and force their ability to shake hands with Joe Consumer and be like, just give me a couple bucks, man. Here's some STLs. You love Stranger Things. Get off some printed. Get off the print off the miniatures of the 4 kids on bikes and enjoy the show, man. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. But here's something we had done because we like this. We don't have any actual merch yet. That's coming. And then just let the STL number downloads fucking show for themselves.
And they will. If if anything, you produce it and then you tell people, "Hey, I'm in the back. I in the background. I have that this little blonde centurion. I because she created a comic. It was fun. It was great. And then she's like, "Hey, y'all want you all want a plushie a plushie of my little of my little murder centurion? Yes. I follow another person, and he's like, I have an emotional support missile. Do you want a plushie of an emotional support missile?" And the audience went, "Yes. I want I want a stuffed missile, please." And
Do
that's
you want a founding cherub from 40K, also known as Shy? Yes, I do.
and people will say yes, they do.
Hey, Janet,
Hey, Jenna!
what happened?
We thought you were eaten alive by a giant worm. I mean, stolen from your family. I mean, by your family. Oh, words.
She got kidnapped by her sister, probably. Her sister's like, you never hang out with me anymore. You're always going to be at Bruce on Saturdays, blah, 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 blah. Ogre, what do you got there?
This
I'm also
is a
okay.
plastic egg. Check this out.
It's full of dice and cool rocks.
Well, it can hold it. See, you know, sit there. Wouldn't know where I got this from?
Where'd you get that from?
I got it from the other room that has my 3D printer.
Yeah, and it's like
And
we're making our own shit now, and we're running fucking circles around. We're running circles around people who are supposedly the heads of corporations. Like we know we have marketing departments and all those other things, and I have a table behind me that's full of fucking miniatures because the Chinese fucking manufacturer for the games that I play doesn't fucking make them fast enough and in enough variety, and so therefore everyone's turned. And there's a third-party market that's just exploded. It's like, fuck it, we ain't waiting for the Chinese to figure it out, and you corpos can't figure out how to make. Like the money is on the table, you could fucking do it, and they don't because we can't guarantee all the money, so we're not going to do shit. So yeah, I would love a good Thundercats, but we'll never get that. I would love Silverhawks. We're never going to see that shit. I mean, there's a lot of things out there.
Brave Star.
Yeah,
That's one I've always wanted to see.
Fuck.
but the thing here is that okay, we're talking about obscure '80s cartoons that most of us we know, but you really like. Hey, do you want to like? Here's this weird show, and people are like, I don't know what that is, and well, it was on for 2 seasons in the mid '80s, and it had a time slot between Snorks and some other obscure show, and you're like, oh, okay, I didn't even know that existed, and you're like, yeah, nobody really watched Snorks, and it had a really shitty time slot, and it was on ABC, so nobody watched that shit, or it was on CBS, and nobody watched that, and
Well, that was the Snorks were to combat the popularity of the Smurfs.
Worse. I know, but I'm only making fun of the fact that we're a niche set of nerds who would go, it would be so cool. Now, can you propose a new show? Because realize that we've kind of moved away from episodic nature where it has to reset every week. And can you push a interesting story that can play over 10 episodes and then reset and then get the next season out in an interesting manner while also making a toy line that can actually be interesting, and that becomes kind of harder and harder to get because things have changed and most of us can't do that. And the marketing, and you gotta be able to sell it to dweebs, to corporate suits, and they're not going to listen to shit. So, and considering that these shows didn't do well in the '80s, and now you want to try to say, make Brave Star, okay? You're gonna sell that to modern people. Westerns aren't popular. aren't that popular anymore.
No.
And so you're gonna go with, hey, we want a show about cybernetic space cowboy, cowboys fighting crime in the future with a toy line. That's a cool idea, but you gotta realize space isn't very popular. Space is popular, but it's not. We've lost the dream of the future because there is no future, and westerns aren't popular anymore. So you're marketing it to people who are like cowboys, and the only people who still like westerns are a bunch of people who are like, I don't even watch TV anymore. It's full of liberals, And I don't watch that shit. I'm gonna go watch this show about people who are ranchers. I'm gonna go watch Yellowstone. And you're like, fuck. God, you're useless people. And because we're stuck in this era where everything's gotta be a fucking, live action, reality TV drama era where it's like, what the fuck are you gonna watch? What? A reimagined of season 43 of Survivor? Hey, we'll get Cyber Bear Grylls to jump out of an airplane, drink piss, and get bit by spiders and snakes, and tell us about how awesome shit is. Okay, that's cool. I mean, that's like, what do we got? Another cheap version of America Ain't Got Talent. Okay, cool. Lost is kind of trash because it was one of those. It ended so badly because it's like, it's the mystery box. If we don't tell anybody anything, you guys will all figure it out. You'll write your own stories, and now it's, oh shit. Now we got to end this show, and it ends badly. I mean, hey, we're gonna get a animated Firefly. That's a good show. I mean, that was finally people can shut up, and we'll finally have. Now, mind you, I kind of want Firefly back, but when I was wanting Firefly back, that was 15 fucking years ago, and we're not there anymore. Everyone's old now, and I'm sorry, I don't want to watch a bunch of geriatrics running around in space doing geriatric shit. I know I really love the scene from Picard season 3 when they powered up the D, and wow, a bunch of old people get to feel special because they're back because they managed to get their 1968 Cadillac back running, and they can go fly around in space. Be like, man, remember when we were young? Not really. We weren't young back then either. But we were younger, and now we're old and still in our prime. We can still show that despite being all getting welfare checks, we can still fucking do something, which is kind of a dying way of saying, hey, look, we have a turtle on life support, and he's important. We keep him in Congress because he's a dead turtle, but he's not dead yet.
One of these days, I'll go a month without having Mitch McConnell get mentioned around me.
When he's dead, that's when he won't be mentioned. There'll be one last gasp of he'll go the fuck away when we bury him. But hey, Mitch McConnell and Pelosi and all these geriatric motherfuckers who are in government is a great way to point at where Hollywood's at. A bunch of old ideas and old shows on life support get wheeled out. Go, remember this thing? It was cool once. Please kill me. I would like to die. No, we need to get at least a little bit more blood out of you. Sorry.
So I gotta mention some stuff here. In the 1990s, we had Friends.
Yeah.
We had Friends, and we had the
Seinfeld
show. Between those two shows right there, that is like half the jokes we know today.
Yeah. And Friends can never be and you're never going to get another Friends. We had that. That's like every shitty sitcom for like another decade after Friends was just Friends in a different box. And then you get what? Big Bang Theory, which was what happens when when people who aren't nerds write nerds.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
And I felt stupid because my mom goes, I like Big Bang Theory because it reminds me of you and your friends. And I'm like, I hate you for saying that.
Yeah, every boomer I know says that about me and my buddies, and I'm like, you really don't know us that well. Okay, that's awesome.
This is exactly what I think about you. That's the problem. That's how people perceive us. Congratulations, we're nerds. That's how. That's all we are to them. Is some bad jokes, and like I don't like Babylon 5. Congratulations, whatever the fuck, you nerd. And this is why we have no fucking marketing value. We have nothing really to market to sell.
Oy.
In all honesty, I would love to see an honest version of Cowboy Bebop live action.
But
Can't be produced in America.
the thing here is that they Netflix killed that did it so badly that we're never going to see it. I mean, it's Netflix killed. Netflix honestly killed Cowboy Bebop's ability to ever be done right because of how bad it was done. It's like it's similar to how we're never going to get the Second Age. Rings of Power killed Lord of the Rings to the point where we're never going to get a true Silmarillion. Wheel of Time murdered any chance that we're going to get an actual good Wheel of Time. The books could have been done, but instead we got what we got, and it's shit. I'm pissed off because World War Z could have been a phenomenal miniseries. Could have been 4 seasons of miniseries. You could have gone through the entire book and done it in 4 parts, in four 10-episode seasons, and got the entirety of the World War Z done. But instead, we got a shitty action movie, and we'll never get a good version of World War Z. The time period that it would have worked is now in our rearview mirror. It's almost 20 years in our rearview mirror. The culture that produced it is gone and old. Because one of the important things was GWAT was the Global War on Terror was still raging when that book was written. It's written on the idea of following the unpopular Bush presidency, and something happened. It was an era that's gone, and you could never recreate it. By the time any of these things that were done poorly in the last 10 years ever get another shot of being made, we're going to be fucking gray-haired or in the ground. We're going to be dead before we get another chance at any of this shit getting retold in a good way. We're never going to see it because of how bad it's been.
Here's the thing. Even at that, there's I kind of foresee in the future, and maybe way. I know it's going to be after we're all dead and gone, but it's like way into the future though, where Hollywood and the whole movie industry is going away. It's just going to be gone. All right, because look at the way the things are going now. They just keep making bomb after bomb after bomb.
It's
Okay,
going to
that's what this whole conversation is about. They just can't really make anything good. And if they get a hold of material that is good, they fuck it up. So now, once you take in, the way AI is and streaming services like YouTube, Rumble, all that, we're gonna you see it where it's going to start where we make our own damn shit. It's already started with I mean, just with with tabletops alone, with the tabletop role playing games alone. I mean, we're sitting here, we're telling stories, and before long, people are going to start, just making movies around it, making shows around it, posting them on YouTube.
All right. Counter for this. The idea that AI is going to replace movies
No,
depends on the idea that Anthropic and DeepSeek and all of these companies can actually continue to stay viable enough to give us access to the rendering programs to be able to do this. The problem here is that we're rapidly reaching the point when the cheap subsidized ability to produce tokens that can be burnt easily and cheaply to produce these movies and pictures, the prices of them is going through the roof. And soon we're not going to have access to this free, infinite power of AI future. That's going away really fast, especially as in the next couple of years, as Anthropic and OpenAI and similar companies are burning through money faster than they're making it because we're not paying for this shit. And we're going to soon get locked out. And so the only people who are going to be making these AI movies are people who have money. So do you have $100 a month to be able to pay an AI company to produce high quality AI movies? Not really. We're enjoying the tail end of the free period, and the free era is rapidly ending because we're starting to see that 3D modeling and the AI models are starting to become. If you're at the free tier, you get an inferior product. If you pay at the $5, the subsidized tier, the $5-10 a month, you get a weaker model. The good models are becoming more and more locked into corporations and big companies, and so the people who can afford to spend the money are the people who can't make anything good to begin with right now. And the people who are creative are going to have inferior, shitty products, or they're training it on their home computer and it's slow. At that point, you might as well just learn how to animate yourself to begin with already. And we're AI was a cool idea, and it's still a cool idea, but it's rapidly going to become not. And I know that's like, oh, and we're so used to the idea of you go to big tent pole movies and but we're not. I was trying to hit this as an important thing earlier is that I Netflix and Amazon are burning through money way too quick, so they can't keep producing these prestige movies that produce nothing, no real return on the money. Disney's barely breaking even at best, but they're burning through cash. We're gonna run into, oh no, I don't think movies are gonna go away. It's just that they're changing formats and they're just changing styles, and it's going to have to go back to for a while to I hate this. Like, I hate the fact that we depend too much on the idea of the algorithm, and you watch certain other people that are in our circles and do channels. They're like, I have to do this thing to keep chasing the algorithm, and I need to produce this thing and produce so much because I'm chasing a dream of like the market's closing, and we're gonna have to return back to the idea of lower your fucking standards and get back to, hey, can you get by on $6,000 to $8,000 a month? A month? Yes, you can. Can you run a production on that much? Yes. Slow, small scale. Reduce your expectations and produce a 2 hour movie. I know people right now who can produce a 2 hour documentary, and it's a phenomenal documentary that's got imaging and good effects and all of this, and they're doing it on YouTube, but because YouTube doesn't give a shit about long form content, and none of us fucking matter. We're too fucking small. The algorithm, like, well, I want to use AI to continue to produce more shit, and you're not. We're gonna have to go back to the idea that you can't depend on the algorithm. You can't depend on AI. You're gonna have to go back to well, you can't do search engine optimization because there is no search engine anymore, and we're gonna have to go back to just the idea of the era of word of mouth. Talk to other people, develop like connections with people, and just talk, because that's the only thing that's going to be around is small independent little productions that grow up in, and we just need to accept the idea that we can't wait for a corpo to come around and go, here's your newest generation of slop. Here's your sanctioned slop from, like, oh no, we have to wait till Hasbro comes around to give us a new TV series. Fuck no. Create your own shit. I
Okay,
fucking do it.
but here's the thing. I don't think you fully understood what I was saying.
All
You're
right?
talking about you're talking about the here and now. I'm not going to deny that that any of what you're saying isn't true. I'm not going to say it. I'm talking into the future, well into the future. Okay, and yes, it's we're on the AI is on a downward slope. It's going to pick back up, and then it's going to go down again. That's until it finds its level. That's the way it works. I mean, look at the telephone. When the telephone first came out, first of all, it was only in like major cities, and
Yeah.
and then
But
by and if you had one in your house, that meant you were flipping rich.
the only the only counter to this is going to be is we're trying to predict the future, and nobody's accurate at predicting the future. Oh yeah, I was like, sure. The future of the 1980s is we'd have flying fucking cars. We have none. We'd have we have video phones that you go up to the machine and you talk to the. Yeah, it's in our hand now, but they're not the way that we picture. I don't see our holographic display boards everywhere. They're around. They're in different forms. We're not very good at predicting the future because if we look at 100, like I cannot say that in 100 years there'll be no movies. Well, yeah, there might not be, but they'll be in different forms and they'll be around. But do we know that? We don't because, well, I can look at things from it in the wild future of 2030, written in 1930. We'd have land battleships and people who have steam flying vehicles floating everywhere and giant airliners and zeppelins. That future didn't happen, and I cannot, I will not base my idea of what's going to be 20 years from now because 20 years ago, all of our predictions were wrong, and
Not all of them.
AI might not recover. It may not. It may get locked behind this. It may become something so universal that everyone's got it, and you can now get your own masturbatory fuck fest little things you can watch. And like, I want to watch my personal GI Joe show that just for me. And congratulations, you got it. But right now, that's not our future. That's not what's going to happen. And fuck, like, I don't give a shit about that. What I care about is where we're going to be at, who's going to be creating things in the next 5 years, who's going to be making shows now. What's going to be interesting in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'll tell you with 100% accuracy who's going to be making them in 5 years.
Yeah,
The same damn people that are making them right now today.
but have you watched any of the independents that have come out in the last year? There's an entire industry, there's entire new people who are coming into this genre, into this industry, and they're making new things. They're telling cool, better stories, and they're not waiting for permission to come from some giant corpo who's sitting in Hollywood. The problem is that we're a bunch of old fucking farts. We're a bunch of old shits who have gray hair who know the system that we fucking grew up with. Shitty publishers, shitty distributors, and fucking garbage people who give us shitty movies to watch. And we're content because we fucking read garbage fucking comic books and we digested filth fed to us. And we were okay with it because we grew up with slop and cheap shit. And we fucking got here, and now the system that got us limped to this point where we're a bunch of brain dead motherfuckers who, if it ain't coming out of Hollywood, we don't want to fucking watch it. And oh no, Hollywood's falling apart. Oh no, I can't go watch it at AMC and eat me a box of fucking fat covered popcorn to go watch the latest Paramount Slop Fest. that's getting shoved down my throat so I can watch another installment of a 70-year-old series. Hey, Star Wars is going to be 50 fucking years old. You want to go watch the original version 50 years ago? Sure. Fuck
You
yeah.
can.
Why the fuck not?
You
But
can.
hey, we're fucking old shits. We are dead. We just haven't died yet. And we are the fucking last bits of it. And we're sitting here pretending that because if it ain't fucking fed to us by some corporate Wall Street dick sucking motherfucker from Hollywood, it ain't fucking worth watching. And I'm saying there's plenty of good shit out there, but us old fucks who just want to have rehash shit from the fucking 70s and 80s, rebaked again and again and remixed again, are sitting here going, I don't want to give my money. Meanwhile, there is people in their 20s and 30s who are fucking going out there and making movies. They may not be fucking them. They may not be blockbusters, and you might not fucking know they exist, but they're fucking out there and they're working to make a decent movie that's entertaining for an hour and a half to 2 hours of fucking time, and it's a good fucking movie. But we don't give a fuck because it's not fucking a rehash of the Care Bears or fucking My Little Pony or G.I. Joe the Transformers. That these explosions and boom booms and fucking I need to drink my fucking 3 liters of goddamn soda and fat covered chocolate peanuts and fucking bullshit. And we're in a useless fucking system. And I fucking hate the fact that we have this goddamn useless point where we're just like, we gotta argue about fucking, like, no. There's a fucking world out there and we're just too stupid to see it.
All right, Khy. One, there's anime, and anime is one of the few ways forward we can get out of the retreading of various things. Secondly, even though the creator is dead, for those that have never read Berserk, it's not finished. Don't know what's going to happen to it. Hopefully the trust that might get set up, they can finish it properly. As it is, it's the first 2 acts of a really good series. Finding somebody to wrap up all the story threads is going to be a bear. I get what you're saying. We keep trying to rehash everything. You know, I mean, as if the 2010s weren't bad enough. We saw us go headfirst into Predator movies, into the RoboCop remake. All the things that were sacrosanct in the 80s were tried in the 2010s. Hey, you remember the remake for Total Recall? It's okay, man. I get your frustration. You know, guys that are our age are fucking up, and the guys that would be our kids' age are actually grabbing the ball and running with it. This is good. This is kind of like the 70s happening all over again. Because in the 70s we had some real fucking barnstormers come out of Hollywood, pissed off at the entire system. You had guys like William Friedkin out there, who he made, what was it, The French Connection in 71. Nobody in Hollywood really gave a fuck about him. And whenever he was making The Exorcist, they're starting to take notice about shit. He was good friends with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and Brian De Palma and Francis Ford Coppola. You got those 6 directors there that they defined the 70s. You know what they weren't? They weren't company people. But they still defined an entire decade with amazing product. And they set up things for the next 15 or 25 years, however you want to look at it. And as much as I like Brian De Palma early work, I don't like his later work. Okay, I can't get into it. But watching the trend that we're seeing right now, it looks like it's cyclic. Nothing's new under the sun. And your frustration, easy to understand. It gets better. The slate's wiping itself clean right now. That's what we need to embrace. We need to embrace the entropy of all this and not get upset if if something that we happen to hold near and dear to our hearts gets eaten into something that it never had the original mindset or trajectory to turn into, but instead it's a transform turned into something that, like, oh my god, it's going Mega Made from suck to blow, and we get stuck with it. Don't worry, it'll be out of conversations in about 2 weeks. It will, because nobody and their sister is talking about the failures of the early 2020s. As much as you and I can throw shade aplenty at Marvel and any other Disney project or Amazon project, like they might be taking away the glory and taking the chrome off of the Lord of the Rings series. What they're really trying to do is dismantle everything good that Tolkien did, and they're not able to do it. That's the thing. A lot of people are noticing that these ideas for the Rings of Power came from somewhere, and because of the failure of Rings of Power, you have more people buying Lord of the Rings now than what we had whenever those movies were released back in 2001 through 2003. And it's kind of nice because you have the Rings of Power making people want to pay attention to not only the four main books, the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings trilogy, but they're also getting into the fucking Silmarillion, which guys my age and girls our age never really gave a shit about once they realized all this is just timelines. It's birth dates, it's death dates. And Silmarillion is actually a very cool book if you know how to read it, but a lot of us weren't taught how to read it, and we just kind of gave up after a while. But yet there's some millennial out there that he's got a how-to on the Silmarillion on YouTube, and he made a name for himself. He made a few bucks off that podcast. So I'm kind of happy we have things like that. Now, I get frustrated about Cowboy Bebop and Netflix, but Cowboy Bebop wasn't a fucking 10-season long epic. It was one season. What was it, 23 episodes?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get super upset about it. I'm going to take some inspiration from Cowboy Bebop because I love the ship designs and I love the fucking firearms that are in that show. But I got to understand that it didn't really make it to be a long-lasting show. It was over and done within one season. That needs to be recognized as a triumph of narratives, because there's too many shows out there that do season-long epics, and then by the time you get to season 6 or season 7, they've lost the plot. They have no idea what's going forward here. Fucking what was it? The Ice and Fire bullshit. The Song of Ice and Fire completely went off the rails. Didn't even follow the books after like season 6. And we'll never get George to finish that either. No, he's going to keep fucking convention appearances. And if you want to rate George Martin, you know, you can watch Nerdrotic all day long, and you're gonna catch that rage. I love it. I'm here for it. But there's guys like you, no offense, and guys like me are like our panelists. We got ideas. There's no reason why, if we're upset with media, why we don't fucking write our own books. In fact, I'm kind of exchanging from a position where I've already done that. Did I sell a whole lot? No. But you know what? I threw my hat in the ring. I wrote 2 books, published them both. I got a third one that's unpublished. And I'm still debating if I'm going to publish it or not, because it wraps up about 2/3 of the plots, and I really don't want to wrap up the last third because I don't think there's anything that I want to wrap up after that. That's, you know, you should assume those characters make it out of these situations, and they go on and they live a life. They probably die of cancer, or they die in a car wreck, or they die of old age, or they have a boring life after the narrative is over. The story's over. There's no more excitement. You know, like you get a paragraph at the end of the movie. He had a long, prosperous life afterwards, and he built a fence company, and he had a wife named Ethel, and they died with grandkids. Blah blah. The end. In all honesty, if you guys are upset about movies and shit, while we could rehash and remake or have a sequel of sorts or generation after of like what generation, next generation would look like without Wesley Crusher's kids on it, I would love that. But at the same time, I'd like to see some really good media come out of stuff that's not heralded, not stuff that is known by every geek out there. Granted, it would be awesome to see young Sheldon wearing a T-shirt of the band I made in 5 years, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we'll just start a heavy metal career doing my screamo rock the way I wanted to. So I think it'd be best if, like, the energy we have, we focus it on things that we can finish, like my pile of miniatures, or like Kai's pile of rants. I would love to see Kai's fiction. Kai ran a game for us. Some of you don't know that. On this channel, there's Table Breakers two-parter where Kai runs a campaign, and we had some really good talent in the Table Breakers show. I like Shadow's game. I was really enthralled by Jade's version of Final Fantasy for Index Card RPG. But then Kai ran his Pathfinder campaign, and amongst the five of us that played with Kai, because it was a six-person panel, I always hear myself and others talk about that two-parter more than anything else.
Because that was a good two-parter. I put effort into that.
Dude?
But that's basically what I was saying, and
Okay.
that's going to be the downfall of the movie industry as it is today.
Yeah.
Is people is independent people, people like us who can create a good story and who can find a way using AI maybe, while free AI lasts, or doing it in such a way, where they make money, where they can afford to pay $100 a month for the ability to generate AI images or whatever, or however it worked out, or it could just be CGI. But anyway, it's going to get to the point where such things will be available fairly cheap. I mean, because that's the way technology works. I mean, look at the VHS player. When I was a kid, we had to go and rent a VHS player. We didn't have the money because it was new. It cost a lot of money, and now they're obsolete. I mean, within just our lifetimes, VHS players meant you had money, you had some money. I mean, you weren't like filthy rich, but you had some money. To now, even a bum wouldn't take it because it's worthless. And so that's, I mean, that's the way it is with technology. That's the way it's going to be with AI. Right now, we're kind of peaked here, and yeah, it's going to go down because they can't just afford to keep giving it away. But people who use it but can't afford to make the upkeep, they're going to like, hey, we want this, and they're going to find a way. And between the companies finding a way to do it cheaper and the people finding a way to pay for it, there's going to be that equilibrium. So in the future, the movie industry that we know today is going to be gone. The days of us having to just take whatever crap they pump out, is will go away because we can do our own stuff. Inevitably, it may even lead to holodecks. You want to make your own story. All right, well, here's a business where you go and you rent a room and you can star in your own your own action adventure, but that's stuff that's years down the road.
You can get a preview to that right now. There are certain places you can go to and see interactive archives of people's chat. The chatbot agents they create and write. So here's the thing that is hilarious. I will occasionally browse through these things and look at what people make, and I will say about 5% of the cards that people make of these chatbots. Now the thing you got to look at here is there's a few details that are important here. Is one, token size. The bigger the token size, the more expensive the bot is to run, and each time you engage with it, the number of tokens the bot has to burn to use becomes. Do you want a quality experience? You might be finding yourself in about 20 20 posts of conversation back and forth. You'll have burnt through $5 because each time you talk to it, it's burning 10,000 tokens. So it talks to you, it burns 8,000 tokens. You type back to it for 2,000. Okay, we're at 10. You only have a budget of 500,000 tokens before it dings your wallet for a certain amount of money. And the models feed us. The people who put some amazing effort in are putting out like 10,000 token cards, and they're beautiful. And these things are well built, and the chat program is fantastic. And it's only going to get worse. But I'm going to say those are the five. That's the 5%ers, the people who are really good at writing a good program, a good story, a good program, a good chat program. And then there's about 25% that I'm going to put into they're okay. You can burn some free time and chat with it, and it'll be an okay conversation. And then there's going to be, oh dear God, this is miserable, and because everyone thinks that they're fantastic until you read it, and then you kind of go, kind of like I know that in Table Breakers, I know that my game was phenomenal, but I also but in can it like in AI terms, my game was really good because I put so much effort into it. So therefore, it was one of those things that I came to the table with decades of intrigue and plot behind it. So in AI terms, I came in with a massive backlog of tokens, and that if you were to ask me to continue to do that, it would cost so much to get a machine to give what I gave out. And so the idea that anybody can go in, well, the thing here is that um, most people don't put that kind of effort in. They're at best guiding an agent, and the agents aren't that good. Case in point, I am working with one of the top flight versions that came out of Anthropic. Anthropic's got one of the best models out there. Gave it a photo and just asked it to copy the photo and move it on the page. It tried, and it changed the photo. All I wanted the AI agent to do was move the photo on the page, and it redrew the entire thing, which means it's hallucinating and making horrible changes. This is the most powerful public model because I'm paying for that model to experiment, and it's constantly hallucinating and changing. It's not a consistent program. So here's the idea that, say Bruce wants a modern He-Man series, and suddenly He-Man's now wearing a toga rather than a furry loincloth. Uh, do you stop it and ask it to rewrite things? And and this is these are the like I know that maybe in 20, 30 years, or maybe 10 years of more intensive burning of money to continue to train these programs, we could eliminate that hallucination, or at least make the
Yeah.
hallucination only happen 10% of the time rather than 25%, which is the current 2025, which is the current best model is 20% hallucination rate. If we're watching Star Trek and suddenly in the background the Battlestar Galactica appears because the AI goes, well, it's a space series, and then suddenly halfway through the scene it transforms into a Star Destroyer, and you're like, this isn't working for me, and you're like, that's not how it is. Or suddenly you're like, I want Picard, but Picard's costume halfway through the scene transforms from season 1 um, pajamas to Deep Space Nine era cool. Gray underlayer with a coat on top. It, I era costumes, and I like this. Technically, you asked it for Picard and it's Star Trek, and suddenly, and then at the end of the video, it transforms into the the black and gold uniforms that came out of the series of Picard, season 3, and you're like, wait, costume consistency, and the computer's like,
And
you told me to make it Star Trek,
and the
and
very last scene is Gurney Halleck charging forward with a pug in his hand.
exactly, and that's the problem is that for somebody who's not very smart, this is great. The problem here is that I I'm smart, and I'm going to notice that I'm a nitpicker. I mean, I am a grade A nitpicker. I've been a nitpicker since I was a preteen, seeing points of when things are inconsistent. It grates against me, and I know there's people who are like me out there because there's books written for nitpickers to tear these shows apart. And AI is a weak crutch for lazy, stupid people because and you can trip up AI users by asking them simple questions like, "Hey, what is your character like? What is the character of your story's motivation?" Or, "Hey, why did you make a choice like this for why Nation B does does this thing?" Now, to an author who actually is good and writes, they'll tell you. They will go into in-depth autistic levels of because
Okay.
they are passionate and they love it. And then you get to go, and then you turn to the AI guy and go, so AI guy, yeah, why does your airship look like that? And they'll look at you like, I don't know. Or why does your kingdom do this? They don't know because the AI puked it at them, and they were. It's like
No.
I think what you're going to see is this splitting of the useless, lazy shits who don't fucking matter, and they never fucking mattered, just going off and watching their mental drivel, and then people who actually are fans of a genre making things for fans of the genre. And at that point, it's like, okay, cool. I'm okay with all of with my fandom shrinking down to 20,000 people who are passionate and care about listening to a 3-hour screed about the military industrial complex and why it's critical for why we nuked a planet in a sci-fi series. That is what I want. And I'm okay with this because AI can't reproduce any of that shit because AI will get facts wrong. AI will look at this massive database. I know because I'm working with an AI trying to get it to help me figure out math for a project I'm working on. I'm not asking it for anything creative. I just want it to just help me do math. And it has no, like, I fed it information and it cannot regurgitate any of the information back to me in a reliable fashion. So I'm not really wanting to use it but I'm already paying for it. I might as well finish out my subscription, and I don't like it, but because it's just like the people. It's not going to be this wonder tool that will allow idiots to somehow become savants, or people who are not good at shit to do a quality product. And you're just going to continue to see people who are good will be good. People who are shit will continue to produce fucking
I'm gonna interrupt you
yeah.
because this is you've fallen into the same trap that uh, um, hardcore AI user. It's either all or nothing. And see, because I use AI, I use AI to generate images, and I use AI to generate stories. However, but I don't fit into anything that you just said about AI users because I will sit there and I will go back over and over again until it puts out exactly what I want. And I will say, okay, I want this. Okay, here's the plot. Here's the genre. Here's what's going on. I want this, and then it spits out stuff. And then I will go through and I will say, no, this isn't even the right genre. No, this isn't part of the plot. I don't want. And there have been times where as I looked at it and said, oh wow, I didn't even consider that. That's a good idea, and I kept it in. So there are people like me who use it to help them create stories. And so I'm not a I don't I'm not one of the I'm not a stupid lazy person that just says, okay, AI, I want this, and then just uses whatever it shits out. No, I put in. I want, I was like, I want this. I'm looking for this. This, put on all the details. Then I will go over it again, and
Now,
then
did you?
take.
Could you have gotten the same effect by just finding another person to talk to, or how much how much work and time did you spend with the AI to get it to just go no, 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 and no before it gave you a good response? I couldn't you just have just written it yourself at that point and then found somebody to help edit it at that point? It's like I've seen my problem is that I deal with too many people who like where it's supposed to be a time saver, but did it actually save you any time? And or could you have produced that without the computer aid? I mean, what I know that when I draw and then I upload to the, I'm just stating the fact that I have no skills in CG coloring. So I would I will never claim that I'm a CG artist by posting the AI artwork that's based on my own stuff because I didn't do shit. I did the line work and the computer did the rest. I'm not going to be say I'm a rendering artist. No, I fucking I fucking used a button and pushed it and then said computer make thing. And but I'm running into the problem of I'm spending more time trying to explain to the computer what I already know the answer to. It's just simply why am I wasting this much? Why am I wasting literally 4 or 5 hours of my time to just when I can open up a document and start writing and I can get something as good. And then I go find somebody who I know is a reputable person and go, hey, look this over and I help me find holes in this problem. And at that point, it's a digital editor, and you get some feedback. But after watching the amount of hallucinations that the machine makes and the wrong assumptions, I might as well just explain this to a person and have the person go, hey, could you explain this thing that happened? And I'll get as good or better results than talking to the machine. I don't want to depend on a machine to tell me shit because I don't need to. But then again, I'm accepting that. But hey, I have my predisposition against it because I just don't like them. I don't like the quality that people produce who aren't good at it. And it's a lot of just bad. It just feels bad. And I just kind of look at it as a mess. And I don't see most people being good at it. And the idea that anybody's going to be able to talk to the machine and say, "Give me a TV show to watch," or "Give me a novel," it's going to be the worst novel you're ever going to read because most of us don't understand how to fucking tell a story, or how to write, or how to do characterization. I I tried to ask her like, "Hey, can you recreate a story in the style of David Weber?" And it's going to be the shallowest imitation of fucking Weber's work. Hey, can you write me a story in Tom Clancy's style? It's gonna it's gonna be bad. Fucking like just write your own shit. No, people just want to hit a button and vomit out a, and hey, it's good enough, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun.
I can't do that. I can't do that because my brain works faster than my hands, whether I'm typing it out on a computer, writing it out on a notebook. And I can't and I have to constantly slow down up here so that this down here can catch up. And by then I've lost that momentum and I can't do it. And working with AI helps me do that.
And, okay, you might want to.
I don't lose and I know I may be in the minority, but I know I'm not the only one. And it's just it kind of irks me whenever, oh well, you use AI, you're just being lazy. No, I'm not. Actually, it's helping me. Is it saving me time?
But
No. Could it would take probably about as much time um, to hand something to somebody and have them edit it, but they're not going to do it for free.
no,
I can't afford to pay somebody to do it. And if I do find somebody that'll do it for free, they'll do it on their own time because they've got bills to pay, they've got their own life to live.
yep.
And so they're going to, well, I'm not getting paid for this, so it can wait, and I'm getting paid for this, I'll do this now. And so so probably yes, in the long term it has saved me time because I get a instant feedback through AI as opposed to handing it to somebody that I'm not paying. And I'm not going to be mad at that person because I get it. I would do the same thing. This year I'm not getting paid for. It can wait. I've got bills to pay, mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Mouth.
Maybe I've I'm working with it. I've just been the level of consistency because that's what I want. I want a consistent, improving system. The problem here is that I cannot get consistency. Art, people the models don't generate good artwork. The models don't generate consistent designs. You can see where I can feed it. I can feed something all of the source material possible, and it still produces a mutation that looks terrible. But to to ignorant fucks who are unskilled, just losers, they're okay with it. They're okay to vomit out this picture, and and they're using this a generic common model that doesn't have any character or fluff. But hey, it's the current meme format for the artwork, and you can instantly tell it's AI. You didn't put any fucking effort into it, and because of the fact that it cannot stay consistent, where you got to constantly babysit it to remind it that no, this is the truth. But I thought, no, this is the truth. And you can actually ask OpenAI and you can ask Anthropic's models to say, walk me through the steps that you're using to reason this. And you can watch its thought process. And then when you spend more than half of your time reminding the machine, no, the kingdom is called this, the economy is called this, does this, and this is how things look, this is how things act, and then the AI forgets or mutates it, and you're constantly sitting here going, no, 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 and then suddenly a key thing that you said, suddenly the personality changes on a character, or something that was supposedly dead magically reappears, and you're sitting here going, no. And that's for me, that's just a complete. But the thing is, I can see that, but for some reason, the majority of people do not, and they seem to be okay with this because, well, because they're just dumb, and it's a crutch that's producing and creating dumb people who are okay with bland artwork, like my character is walking down a street. Like this is what 3/4 almost all the AI animation is. The guy is walking down the street and there's things walking by. It's like that's about the best you're gonna get out of most of this shit. Or it he flies a plane and it does a thing, and I'm like, oh my god, this is what we're going to be. I The amount of art of work it requires to get these things to be good is beyond the grasp of it, and maybe it's just simply me
For
looking at
now,
going. Most
for
people
now,
are, yeah.
the technology will improve.
It
It'll get better.
Now the technology will improve. The people describing things into the AI are not.
I want you to do me a favor, real quick.
Yeah,
Go into the Discord.
yeah,
Go into the D100 Discord.
yeah,
Look at memes. You see that?
yeah. I can see that.
That's one of my AI creations. I thought of that. I'm going to create the stats and everything. I'm going to put it into the world of Rifts. I did it for Rifts, and that's I mean, and I had to work at it. You
Yeah,
know, and I found that like started with the broad strokes. Okay, I want a leopard with dragon style wings walking through a forest.
mm-hmm.
And oh my god, the first thing that popped out. I mean, technically. So okay, so I said, okay, no, change the wings to this. Get rid of the dragon tail. Make it look more, you know, you know, make the tail not look so dragon-esque. And you
Yeah.
know,
So I'll
and
take it
so
back. Like,
I
so
had to work with it for a while, and I eventually got that. I like it.
yeah,
I think it's cool. I'm putting, like I said, I'm going to put that in a risk game. Whenever I run a risk game, expect to see that thing.
yeah. So I'm glad that you actually have a good grasp of the tools and can make it work. My problem is that I guess because I spend too much time with social media and with other things, I'm seeing the AI vomit trash, and it's on YouTube where it's here's a pretty picture of some swirling stars, and it's like low effort, and this is what's acceptable because a bunch of well people who are barely people are are abusing these tools and just using it, and it's just kind of crap. And I don't see any of this reply because YouTube is fucking overflowing with bad information, AI generated slop. That's everywhere, and it's forcing all the good things that people having good conversations, people who put effort into factual information, narrating their own stuff, writing up cool stuff, making all this, making stuff like your winged cheetah, which is actually kind of cool. Actually, it's actually a nice little design. I mean, it is a good design. I like it, and that's but we're getting wiped, just buried under all this cheaply generated shit that some indie some AI twerp who's like, I can just fucking like, I can make money by slopping the internet together and waiting for bots to go watch it, because we're kind of in the dead internet era of shit. I mean, I know that I've had a couple of years of doing AI artwork, and it's kind of fun, but I'm not gonna post any of that shit anywhere, because that's just like fucking my private. It's for my private games and my private works with people who I write with, for helping do character and setting background information and neat stuff. The stuff will never get shown to anyone outside our little group. It's but I'm not a slot generator, and I also spend fucking hours agonizing over this and then hating the fact that I will get one picture that's perfect and then never get it to recreate that picture and to take that picture and make it reproducible ever again, and it sucks. Anyway, we're way off topic, and I think I'm a little tired for the night. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
You're
what,
good.
what was the topic?
We're so far off base, I have no clue anymore.
David, do you remember a topic?
Well, the night started off with how movies are mutating. I wanted to make a comment at one point about how technically, yes, everything has been already made, but on the same hand, you would say that you could easily say that Fifth Element and Blade Runner are very similar movies, but you would not say they are. Well, for example, Avatar is Dances Wolves in space. You could have movies that are basically the same, and yet they feel completely different.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That's all I want to say on that subject.
it's like Harry Potter is Star Wars with really crappy lightsabers.
God, I haven't heard that one in a bit, but yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's Mongoose is right there. The old saying is true. There are no new stories, just new ways of telling them.
I don't even let that. I don't even fully agree with that one, but yeah, you're right on that. But I still don't like it.
I mean,
But then again, I don't have to like shit, because I have my opinions and I do my own shit over here. I don't care.
Oh, does it involve me building my uh, German World War II secret never actually built tank? No, go away.
Hit.
So I would ask, what are we going to do about the owlbear overpopulation?
domesticate them.
We got to do something to Janet to make her, to have her watch that, because that was 4 hours. There's some parts.
That was 4 hours of insanity. That is for sure.
Owlbear overpopulation, huh?
Nerdy. Well, we come across an egg in the forest, and Nerdy decided it was time to try to tame one.
Okay.
I tried. I put in the effort, but ultimately had to give it back to its mama.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It happens. I know. We don't want to give up the pet. and it was a pet.
Well, I told the group, I said, look, I understand everybody's hesitancy, and I understand that odds are this endeavor is going to flop, and I'm probably going to have to end up putting it down, but I'm still going to try.
There's no point. There's no harm in trying.
Well, the halfling thief might disagree with you on that.
Well,
Apparently, there's a halfling thief hiding in the shadows, waiting to rob us, and the owlbear caught it, and well, gnawed on its arm for a little bit.
And it may be addicted to oatmeal cream pies.
eh, it's a small price to pay.
You ever see that video creator that he's in the forest and he's got a bull named Rufus that he uses as his enforcer for the herd?
No.
Whenever he gets threatened by the other bulls, he screams, Rufus! And then he offers that Rufus a fucking oatmeal cream pie from a box of little heavies. And the fucking bull will go out and be the enforcer for that oatmeal cream pie. It's actually searchable. You look it on YouTube, look for Rufus the Bull, and you'll find it. But it's a series of funny little videos where this farmer's got a bull that doesn't really like him much, but he likes him enough to eat the fucking cream pie and not let him get hurt. It's great.
Okay.
Recommended. And seeing this the family in action is just funny. So I guess we did run out of topics because we got other topics in the stack of stuff, but it's also 11:50 at night. Not really wanting to move into another set of topics. David, do you have anything you want to wrap up before we get out of here? Because we didn't talk a whole lot, no offense.
Well, there wasn't much to say. All I would really do on that entire argument is I'm in between. I like AI, but on the same hand, I hate how far spread it has become. So, like, that's the. I didn't really have much to say other than I would be in the middle anyway. So,
I gotta respect that. I'm not a super fan of AI. I think that everybody knows this. If you talk to me for longer than 5 minutes, you get this. It comes out. It's like me exhaling. I think AI has purpose. I think a lot of people don't ever get a chance to actually see what it can do because they're too busy like trying to either monetize it without having a full grasp of the situation, or worse yet, they're like me and they just do an early dismissal. They're like, "Fuck it, I'm not worried about this shit. By the time this is usable, by the majority, it'll be useless." And congratulations for those of you that are going to use AI to predict how stocks rise and fall, and you can make millions of dollars without having to literally leave your house or get dressed. Congrats to you. That's a weird sound.
What was that?
That's our AI overlords telling me that I'm too late for the party.
Well, I'm in. What is it? Dissension? Is that the right word? AI is a tool. It is a useful tool. It is a tool that can be abused by tools. And if you're a tool that abuses it, then, well, you suck. You're just making it harder for the rest of us. Please stop. If you suck, just admit you suck. And stop. make way for the rest of us. Thank you.
I gotta
Welcome to
say,
my
I
TED
suck.
Talk.
I gotta say, I suck. If you ever read my books, you understand just how much I don't believe in editing either, and that can be a problem if you're a writer.
But
I know I've got problems, so
when I'm trying to write um, an adventure for a role playing game or something, and I'm using AI, I do admit I think of the scene. Have any of y'all ever seen the movie The Birdcage with
yeah.
Robin Williams and Nathan Lane?
Yeah,
You remember where they're trying to fix their house to make their house look like straight people live there, and all the gay people, they don't know how they get all the gay people in the community to help, and he's like, what is this? And holding a stack of Playboys. Well, what? It's what they read, isn't it? He's like, don't add, just subtract. I do think of that scene a lot because I'll put something into AI, try to have it check out, and what it spits back out has mutated with its own ideas. I'm like, don't add.
Yep.
But yeah, if you work with it, then it's very useful. It's very helpful, and what is being put out is your own. You know, and you know, but if you just it's like give me a story about an orphan boy who's raised in a cupboard. You're not going to get Harry Potter. You're not. It's not going to happen.
No.
But if you go at it with hey, I got this idea. There's this kid. He's a wizard. He doesn't know he's a wizard. And his parents died. He was raised by his aunt and uncle who hate him, and and you give it your ideas, and it use it to maybe fill in some gaps, or you work with it. It's still your idea. It's still yours. Yes, you're getting help from AI as a tool, but it's still yours, and it still could be good.
Okay.
I think
I'm
that's
Nerdy Yoga, and thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
the wrap up for tonight. I was gonna try to find a Cortana fleshlight and bring out the Steve Vai Halo 2 soundtrack, but thank God the Cortana fleshlight doesn't exist. So
Check eBay. It used to. Not joking.
Rule 32.
there you go, kids.
No, actually, this site sold official Cortana merchandise.
Nope.
I'm pretty certain that Skynet will remember that we don't have a fleshlight for Cortana. So us four shall be saved. We shall be spared.